Morning all. How are you? I've been having a mull. You know, every now and again I mull. I've had some interesting conversations over the last couple of days. Some of them off the back of the series I've been doing about UKRI. It does appear to me that we're obviously making great headway in some areas, but it seems that we're making less headway in others. In addition to that, it looks to me like what we're seeing is that this stuff is beginning to drop out of culture and firmly drop into the centre of politics. This is a crucial time for me and for those I know who are collaborating with me on various aspects of trying to get all of this nonsense stopped. But it's also a strange time for many. I've been talking to the warrior teachers this week, and many warrior teachers are committed left-leaning folk. And it appears to them, and I think sadly it appears to me, that the left doesn't even have a coherent position anymore. When I think about the left, I think about John Smith. I always do. I can't help it. I'm that generation, right? So John Smith sort of loomed quite large in the left's movement over the years. And his death made him a bigger figure than he probably would have been if he'd remained alive. You know how that works, right? It always works like that, doesn't it? So it's quite galling to have to understand that much of the problems that we see in our society, particularly around EDI and gender and trans and race and all the rubbish that's going on, has come from the left and the liberal. And that's something to struggle with. Because it must be disappointing that you committed yourself to a movement for X number of years, in some cases many years, and then to recognise that the very movement that you supported has turned like the scorpion to the frog and stung you. When you know the story of the scorpion and the frog, right? On the side of the pond, and the scorpion says, "Give us a lift, mate." And the frog says, no, you just sting me and we'll drown. The frog says, the scorpion says, no, I won't. And so the frog goes, all right, get on then. And halfway across, the scorpion stings the frog. And as they go underneath, the frog looks at the scorpion and says, what? Now we're both going to die. And the scorpion says, mate, I'm a scorpion. That's what it feels like to me. I don't know whether it feels like that to the rest of you, but that's what it feels like to me. Is you expect the left to hold sway of the more excessive behaviours of some of the right. And I always thought that the left made a far better opposition than it did a parliamentary party. And maybe that's where they are best served. It certainly looks like what's happened is profoundly driven by the left and Labour. But that doesn't leave the right in any position to say that they didn't do anything, which they didn't, that they've been absolutely ineffective, which they have been. But you can't argue against the fact that the vast majority of universities are driven by liberals and leftists. You can't argue against the fact that that's where this came from. You can't argue against the fact that they trained the teachers that went into the schools to do what they've been doing with trans and gender and queer and everything I've been covering from UKRI. You can't get away from it. You can't. I think if the left is going to be able to gather any semblance of reality, they need to come back to reality. The fact that they think they're going to get away with any of this by not doing so is astonishing to me. Astonishing. And as for the Tory party, I mean, where? Hello? Who are you? What's going on? So in effect, we're left with practically nothing. People go on about reform, but the truth of the matter is I don't think they're the answer. I really don't. Then today, I've watched a video about what's happening in terms of discrimination on race, particularly against white people, and how the decolonisation movement and everything that comes with it is also entangled with the trans and queer. And once again, you cannot get away from the fact that this has a Marxist structure. Power and oppression narratives. That's what it is. And you can't get away from the fact that most people don't know what's going on. And that businesses, sadly, and I've done the work on this, have built structures and built their organisations in such a way that they cannot escape this now. They cannot escape this. They built the seedbed that these people were then able to lay the seeds in. Now, when it comes to to business that's got to make money, they'll eventually just get rid of it. But the public sector is going to be a real problem. The charity sector is going to be a real problem. The education sector is going to be a real problem. And how do we deal with that is another ballgame altogether. I don't see any end to it, right? Except one person at a time. which has always been what I've said, that it always was a grassroots movement, a scrappy insurgency, if you like, a scrappy insurgency. But they ain't going to stop screaming, not by a long chalk, until something serious happens, and that I can't see happening. At the same time, the global events are an extraordinary sight to see. An extraordinary sight to see. I never thought that I would live to see the like of what's been happening over the last 48 hours. That people, gay people in particular, would go out with other miscreants and would fly the flag and chant in support of the Ayatollah. That's how stupid they are. They will support the Ayatollah in Iran. Over going, hang on, have we got this wrong? Do you think we got it wrong, Margaret? No, support the Ayatollah. That they will fly the flag of a country that would kill us in an instant. Iran. That they think that they are so absolutely beyond the pale right with their psychotic utopian ideas, which is what, I mean, generally that's what happens once you get the horseshoe round. You get psychotic utopians, and that's what they are. And they think they are so right. But yet there they are saying, you know, oh, don't hurt the regime that hangs women for showing their hair, that hung a 16-year-old girl for reporting the fact that she'd been raped, that hang gay men from cranes in public. No matter what, even if they catch two 14-year-olds at it, they'll hang them. They'll hang them. This is the people that the left are supporting. What the hell's that about? Now, others will say, yeah, but the right, you know, and you're right, big corporations, big pharma, big companies that have got vested interest in this nonsense. That's absolutely right, but they're not the right. Big companies, corporatism's leftism. It's exactly the same thing. They get so big that they live, essentially, on public handout. They live on government contracts. They are part of the state. That's not capitalism, that's corporatism. And in doing so, they then do the behest of the state. And right now, the state is pushing all this. The state is pushing it. But that won't matter. That won't matter providing we guard democracy. Providing we guard my right and your right to go and stick a tick in a box and say, off you go, let's have the next bunch of clowns in. That's what we need to stick to. And that's going to mean fighting digital ID. That's going to mean fighting banks being linked to all our names so that they can see what we spend. That's going to mean fighting against censorship. That's going to mean fighting against any curtailment of freedom. And that's going to mean fighting for a serious reduction in the power of the state, a serious reduction in the power of the judiciary and the police force, and essentially moving to a point where the main right of the people in the UK is the right to be left alone. That kind of thinking is anathema to the left. How do we get past that? They think the state's the answer. I think the state should be the size of a pinhead. How things change, that's all I can say. But tell me, what are your thoughts? Where are you? That's just my mole for the day, because I need to have a break from doing the UK or I thing. Oh, buy me a coffee, come be a warrior teacher, usual stuff. Listen, go well, all right? I'll see you later. It's sunny. Have a nice day. I'm going to go and teach me warrior teachers. Oh, excited. Bye-bye.
Hello.